Hey everybody, it's Mr. Forgione back with our very last video of the pandemic. I know you guys are so disappointed to not have to watch these YouTube videos anymore. And this one's going to be tied into our very last assignment of the semester, which again, I know you're really bummed about finishing up and getting a start on your summer. But this one hopefully is going to be fairly at least useful for you. I think kind of interesting. It's a little bit of math, but also I think it's really practical and really useful. Something that I've used a lot, which is how do we get from the price of a car to a monthly payment for a car? How do we calculate based upon what the price of a car is to what my monthly payment's going to be? Like I said, I think this is a useful skill because, believe it or not, I know you'll all be shocked by this, but car dealers, car salesmen are not always the most truthful when it comes to calculating this. And so I've actually had parents, when I've talked about this before and I've kind of gone through the process before, I've actually had former students and parents email me and said I actually took these notes in with me to the dealership and did the calculations, and I actually knew before the dealer did what the monthly payment was. So I'm not necessarily advocating for you to bring your economics notebook with you to buy a car, but this does really work. I promise you, it's something that's helpful. It kind of lets you know what the monthly payment is, and the reason that's important. The price could be anything. That really doesn't affect you as much as, okay, how much can I afford on a monthly basis? How much of a payment can I afford to continually pay over the life of the loan for the car that I've taken out? So that's kind of what we're looking at today. Now, before we get started, there's a couple of pieces of information that we're going to have to know when it comes to calculating these car payments. So the first thing that I always need to know is the down payment. Okay, the down payment is literally the amount of cash or the amount of money that I am putting up front, that I am giving to the dealer before we do any financing or borrowing. Just, okay, here you go. This is the amount of money I'm putting down up front. So for this, the purposes of this, I'm just going to say that we've saved up $1,500 and that's our down payment. Okay, so we're going to put down $1,500 in this scenario. Okay, the second piece of information that I need is something that you've seen already in this 9 weeks. It's the only time that we use a cursive letter instead of the print letters. The cursive I is the interest rate. And in this case, let's say that at this point, most of you probably don't have a long credit history, but your parents might. Let's say that your parents are going to co-sign for you on this. And let's say that the interest rate you've got is about 5%. Okay, you're paying about 5% interest on this car loan. Lastly, we need to know how long this car loan is for. So we've got N, or the number of years that the loan is for. In this case, let's assume that we've got a 4-year loan. Okay, that N is our number of years, and let's say that that's 4, that we're paying this off of the period of 4 years. Okay, now there is one other thing, obviously, that we have to know, which is the price. And that, obviously, we can negotiate a little bit with the car salesman or with the car dealer to try to get the best price. So let's say in this case we found the car we want. We found a really nice used car that's $15,000. Let's say our price here is $15,000. Okay, so we're going to break this down step by step, and really there's 3 main steps that we're going to have to look at. The first step is always finding what we call the principal. The principal is essentially the amount that you are going to borrow, okay? And the principal is really, all we got to do to find that is we're going to take the price minus the down payment, okay? It's just price minus down payment. So in this case, our price is $15,000, our down payment is $1,500. So we know here that our principal is $13,500. Okay, that is our principal. That's the amount that we are borrowing. Now, just because that's the amount that we're borrowing, is that the same amount that we're going to be paying back? Hopefully you guys are saying, no, it's not. The reason is we're paying interest on this, okay? They're lending us, whether it's, the dealership financing themselves, which sometimes is okay, sometimes not. I think you're always better off going to a credit union or having your parents become members of a credit union, if they're going to co-sign with you, you typically get a much better interest rate if you do that and then going in to pay for the car. But in any event, they are going to make, the lender's going to make some money off of you borrowing. That's kind of how banking and lending works, right? So we're going to actually pay more than that $13,500 because we've got the interest. So the next step, the second step, is going to be taking the principal and from that extrapolating, okay, what's the total amount that I'm going to pay via these different payments? So to do that, we're going to take the principal here. We're going to take our $13,500 and we are going to multiply that by 1 plus the interest rate. Okay, and we're going to express that interest rate in terms of a decimal. So here where we've got 5% as the interest rate, if we made that a decimal, that's going to be 0.05. So we're going to take 13,500 times 1.05, and now we're going to raise that interest rate to the nth power. In other words, we're going to raise it to the power that's the same as the number of years. So in this case, it's a 4-year loan. We are going to raise it to the 4th power. Now, the reason that we're doing that is because the interest is compounding. It's not 5% overall, it's 5% per year. So we're going to get some compounding interest there, and we multiply that by the principal. So if you've got a calculator, go ahead and grab that. I'm going to grab mine right here because honestly, I can't really do this too well in my head. So we're going to plug this in real quick. 500 times 1.05. Actually, go back 1.05 to the 4th. Okay, times 13,500. Okay, so we've got, I came up with 16,409. I don't know if you guys get that as well. Hopefully we're all on the same page here, but I got rounding here $16,409, and that's about right. That's about what it should be on there. So that's the total amount that I'm going to pay. So what that also tells us is from this, we can kind of say, okay, what is the amount of interest that I'm paying? Not quite $3,000, about $2,900. That's the total amount of interest that we're going to pay on this over the course of that 4-year loan. So that's how much the lender or the bank here is going to be making. Okay, one last piece of business we got to do, one last step. We're now going to take that total, the total amount that's going to be paid, and we're going to divide that by the number of payments. Now, to find the number of payments, all we're going to do is take the number of years times 12 months, okay? We got 12 months in a year. Now, I say that, and I shouldn't admit this, but whatever. Every year that I do this with some of my different classes, and I say, okay, how many months are in a year? I always get some very interesting answers, but very seldom, believe it or not, is 12 the first answer that I get. But there are 12 months in a year, all right? So we're going to take our 12 months times, in this case, 4 years, and that's going to give us 48. So we're going to make 48 payments on this. We got 48 months, we're going to make 48 payments. So I want to take that 16,409, that total amount here, 16,409, and I want to divide by 48, okay? So I'm going to take that over here, 16,409, and technically in 33 cents, divided by 48, okay? And so I'm getting on there 341.86, or let's just round to about 342 per month, okay? About $342 per month. That is your monthly payment. So if you've got these constraints here, you can say, okay, that's going to be the amount of my monthly payment. Now, how could I reduce that? Let's say I've got, I'm looking at a car, and man, 15 grand, I like that, but I don't want to pay that 342. A couple things you can do. Obviously, one of the things that is always helpful is if you can get that better interest rate, that's going to help. I mentioned earlier going to a credit union. That was something that very much helped my wife and I at this last car that we bought last summer by going to ViStar Credit Union, and I'm not advertising for them, that's just where we went. I asked them if they wanted to run my credit, see if they could offer me something. They got me down to 3.9%. My gut feeling is with the Fed lowering interest rates right now, you could probably get a better deal than that. But that's one way of lowering your monthly payment, is getting a lower interest rate. Another thing that you can do is the down payment. You can save up more money up front and try to pay more down up front, try to put more down. And that would reduce the amount that you're going to borrow, which is going to reduce this and reduce this. Okay, so that's another thing. Now, the other one that you can do, and I'm not necessarily recommending you do it, but if you're looking at this and going, oh, I can't afford that, but I really want that, you can also extend the length of the loan. Instead of doing a 4-year loan, you could do a 5-year loan, or in some cases, they'll even let you do a 6-year loan. Now, that is going to make it cheaper per month. That is going to make it easier for you to pay. But what it's also going to do is it raises that exponent, which means you're going to pay significantly more interest. And because the number of payments has gone up, you're going to pay a lot more. This number over here, that 16,409, is going to go significantly higher in the long term. So it's a trade-off. You can do that and lower your monthly payment, but the overall amount of money that you're going to pay is going to go up as well. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of practice with that to just get comfortable with it. And on a personal note, for my seniors, I've mentioned this before, I know I'm going to see you at graduation, whenever that might be, or hopefully I will see you at graduation, whenever that is, if you guys are not already off doing the next thing. This senior class, you guys know you've been real special to me. A lot of you guys, although not necessarily in the ACE class, I think for the most part you guys are all ones that I've had for the first time. But I've had a lot of your classmates for 2 years, and just you seniors in general, even the ones I'm having for the first time. It's a special senior class, the juniors as well, but I've had a chance to get closer to the seniors a little bit because of having you all for a longer amount of time. I'm proud of you. I'm really sorry that didn't get a chance to kind of have these things at the end that we all look forward to, the proms and the grad bashes and all of those types of things. But this is a blip in the radar, and this is not the end. The best is certainly yet to come. I know for a fact you all are going to do great things. A lot of times teachers say that, and I hate admitting it, but a lot of times we say, oh, you're going to do big things, and we don't necessarily mean it. We're like, we hope you're going to do big things. This isn't a hope. You guys are going to do big things. I would bet my house on it that this senior class is going to do some really big things. So I love y'all. I miss you if I don't get a chance to see you at graduation. Know that I'm really proud of you, and that I would love to hear about your future successes. Anytime you want to email me, you want to contact me, I would love to hear from y'all. And for you juniors, I hope some of you might consider taking AP Gov next year. You guys are a great group that I've really gotten close to as well. And so this is not a goodbye. This is a see you later. But just know that I'm really proud of you, and I've really enjoyed having you all in class. Take care.